is enough said.
What up, Heat Nation? Yo, boy Ernest here, back with another Miami Heat Talk video. I am finally back home in the Miami Heat office, you guys, back from a well-needed vacation. It was my wife's birthday on Friday, August 15th. So my wife, my kids, friends, we traveled, rented a house, had an amazing time. It was great. We had much needed relaxation, really chilling, you guys, taking a few days of just R&R. We really needed it. I know I posted some shorts over the weekends giving you guys updates. I know I even put a post, but for those of you that didn't see it, I was gone for vacation. That's why I didn't post anything. So my apologies, you guys, but I'm back home. I'm ready to give you guys some Miami Heat updates. So together, join me as we go on another Miami Heat Talk adventure. Please don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and click that notification bell. Now, like I mentioned, I'm on vacation. I'm thinking, all right, there's nothing going on. Let's take a few days off. Let's go out. This is a perfect time to do a vacation. But of course, the Miami Heat have to do stuff while I'm gone. Like I mentioned, I noticed I posted shorts on it. I saw a lot of you commented. Appreciate that. But let's go over so I can give you guys full details. First and foremost, on Friday, my wife's birthday, I didn't see it until hours later, but the Miami Heat decided to trade Haywood Highsmith and a 2032 second round draft pick to the Brooklyn Nets for a 2026 conditional second rounder. Apparently it was protected from picks 31 to 55. So that basically means that the Miami Heat gave up Haywood Highsmith for nothing. It was just to get under the tax line. The Heat were $1.5 million over the luxury tax line. By trading Haywood Highsmith, they are now $4 million under the luxury tax. This is now not going to cause them to pay the repeater tax penalty. Teams do this when they don't feel that their team can fully contend. And we've talked about this Miami Heat team being a potential contender in the Eastern Conference because you traded for Norman Powell. Now, I'll say, you guys, this was the first bad move of the Miami Heat's offseason because we all praised Pat Riley for that great trade for Norman Powell, only having to send out Kyle Anderson and Kevin Love and no future assets. Haywood Highsmith, you guys, even though he was on an expiring contract, this is a guy who is one of your best perimeter defenders. This is a guy that's also been on your roster for several years. This is a guy that you've developed, that you've molded, and you gave him away for nothing. You could have at least gotten possibly an unprotected second round draft pick. If you're sending Brooklyn a future second round draft pick in Haywood Highsmith, I would have thought you would have at least gotten a second round draft pick unprotected. But no, that thing was protected from 31 to 55, which the Heat was like, we don't care. Just take this dude's contract so we can get under the luxury tax. And then the Miami Heat only had 13 players. And it's like, I get it. I've mentioned that this team is loaded with depth. And I know that Highsmith is out for 8 to 10 weeks because of a knee injury. But the guy's going to be back by the beginning of the season. And like I mentioned, he is one of your best perimeter defenders. And I really believe that Highsmith would have had a great shot to contend for playing time on this roster. I know we're loaded in the wings and the guard positions, but not enough to just give up Highsmith for nothing. But then I thought, well, this team does have a lot of versatile wings. You have Jaime Jaquez Jr., you have Andrew Wiggins. You just traded for Simone Fontecchio, even though I thought that was the guy that was going to be traded for nothing. But then you also have two players that have showed out really good in Summer League. By trading Haywood Highsmith, this is going to give opportunity for Jaime Jaquez. It really is. But it's also going to give an opportunity for Pallel Larson and Keshad Johnson. Pallel Larson is playing incredible right now in the Eurobasket League. And he also did very good in Summer League. And Keshad Johnson, these guys are not going to develop unless they get playing time. So maybe the way the Miami Heat saw it was, okay, we're going to trade Highsmith to get under the luxury tax. That's going to be great because his salary, guys like him and Simone Fontecchio would have been the high candidates to do that because You trade these guys and you get under the tax line, But now this is going to give an opportunity for Pallel Larson to shine. Every time Pallel Larson was given an opportunity last year, he did really well. So I really believe that the reason why they traded Haywood Highsmith was a few reasons. He's expiring, but also because you have players that are younger that are ready to contribute. But then after that, something else happened, and that kind of took me by surprise. The Miami Heat signed Drew Smith on a 3-year contract. A contract worth $7.9 million. You look at Drew Smith's numbers last year, you guys. I mean, he averaged 6.2 points a game, 51% from the field, 53% from the three-point line, 1.5 steals in 14 games last season. Even though he did injure his Achilles in late December, they do believe that he's going to be ready for the regular season in training camp. He did take the 14th standard contract. It's basically like a little bit more than the minimum per season. It's like, about like 2.8 averagely a year. So about the minimum. He took it for 3 years. We all know that Drew Smith, you guys, he is a versatile defender. He gives you that depth in the point guard position. You're trying to move Terry Rozier. There's not going to be a place for him on this roster. The Miami Heat's pretty loaded at the guard position. You have Tyler Hero, Norman Powell, Davion Mitchell. You have Kasparis Yakachonis. And then you're going to bring in Drew Smith, a guy who I jokingly say is Eric Spoelstra's favorite player. But the fact that the Miami Heat gave him this type of contract shows that he is. You could have easily given Drew Smith a 2-way deal and let him prove himself. But the Heat gave him a 3-year contract. I don't think that's the best move, though. I mean, I get it. You're doing right by Drew Smith. And Drew Smith in 14 games, he played very well. I'll be honest. When I was watching Drew Smith last year come off the bench, he was one of the most productive players we had in a struggling team that was going on. Even though the Heat were out of the play-in at that point, Drew Smith was really consistent. He was one of the most consistent bench players last year. So I understand the contract. But the fact that he tore his Achilles, that was tough. That was really tough. But the Heat probably see something that we don't. I just really believe that the Miami Heat should have brought in a backup center. And it was reported after the Miami Heat signed Drew Smith, they pretty much decided to sign Drew Smith over Kai Jones. The Miami Heat don't want to add a player in that 15th spot. They want to stay under the luxury tax because they believe that they can make a trade. But it was reported by the Miami Herald that the Miami Heat are not looking to sign a backup center anytime soon. It was this, and I quote, it was saying Miami isn't expected to add a backup center in free agency anytime soon. Although it's conceivable that could be addressed with another trade. This is one thing I've mentioned a lot, you guys. The Miami Heat do have the possibility of moving Terry Rozier's expiring contract to upgrade in the backup center position. If Chicago was willing to accept the trade for Nikola Vucevic, for a trade involving Terry Rozier and a future second-round draft pick, which they only have one more to give, that can maybe get you in the door with a player like Vucevic or possibly DeMar DeRozan. Sacramento and Chicago are trying to move these guys, but they know they have until the February trade deadline to do so. So a deal like that can take some time, which is a big reason why the Miami Heat have kept Terry Rozier on this contract, because he's basically a cap filler. So, in conclusion, you guys, I understand the Haywood Highsmith trade and the Drew Smith signing. I just don't think it's something that was the smartest decision. Now, some people may ask, why did the Heat give up Highsmith instead of Fontecchio? Well, I think the Heat look at Pallel Larson as a potential filler for Haywood Highsmith. But Simone Fontecchio brings something on this team that no one can potentially be, and that's another three-point sniper. You traded Duncan Robinson for Simone Fontecchio because you didn't want to lose Duncan for nothing. And you traded a shooter and you got a shooter. I know Simone Fontecchio's numbers last year in Detroit weren't really the sexiest, but you look at the 2 years prior where he did average over 40% behind the three-point line. And last year he didn't get a lot of playing time with Detroit. Now that you've traded Highsmith, you're giving opportunity for guys like Jaquez, Fontecchio, Larson, Keyshawn Johnson. So I'm really interested in seeing what this team is going to look like after training camp. You know what you get with Drew Smith. Highsmith, it sucks to see you go, man. I loved you on this team, but I'm really interested in seeing where they go. So Heat Nation, let me know what you think in the comments. Do you think it was a bad move to move Highsmith? Do you think it was a bad move signing Drew Smith? And do you also think it's a bad move that the Heat are not picking up Kai Jones? Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Guys, don't forget to support the channel. Like, share, subscribe. Click that notification bell. Don't forget, y'all get me to 7,000 subscribers by September 1st. We will do a live jersey giveaway. And don't forget to vote my daughter Maya for Toddler of the Year. I'll leave a link in the description. Thank you guys so much for the continued support. Again, my apologies for not getting a video out shorter. I was on vacation, and that's when the Heat decided to do all this. Good times. But until next time, your boy Ernest out, and that is enough said.